up, though?
It was the middle of December back in 2009, and my family and I had been attending the company's Christmas party. This was an annual thing, and my kid loved it. The company would hire someone to dress up as Santa.
Let me go ahead and put this top back on. Put it somewhere safe. Santa Claus. And you got these two little white, like, get that clock out of here! Santa Claus, Claus. Jesus.
And it was nice for the workers because it was usually when we were given our bonuses. It had been a slow year for the company, but we were all happy with what we were given. And all in all, the evening at the party was a hit. The drive home, not so much. We loaded up into our Dodge Caravan and got a movie set up for our son, although we knew he would fall asleep shortly after we got moving. I remember as we were leaving, one of my coworkers laughed and said that I had the right idea because a snowstorm was heading that way and it was safer to leave the party then. I hadn't heard anything about a storm, so I just assumed he meant a flurry. No big deal. Nothing we weren't used to driving in. So we started down the road, and within a matter of minutes, my wife let me know that our son had nodded off, so we turned down the volume of the speakers. And it wasn't long after that we began to see the snowflakes hit the high beams of the car. Again, this wasn't anything new, so we weren't too concerned. I slowed down a bit, of course, but no big deal. Or so I thought. After a few minutes of light flurries, they began to get larger, and within a matter of seconds, we couldn't see the road ahead of us.
Damn.
It was just coming down. In hindsight, if I had been paying attention to the news all week, I would have known that we were expecting a small blizzard in our area. We tried our best to make it home, but at some point,
What's worse? Heavy duty snow falling down or heavy duty rain coming down? Let me know that in the comment section below.
To make a decision to pull over. We had quite a bit of windy roads down the mountain to get home, and with our kid in the car, it just didn't seem safe. I pulled the car over, and we were on a slight hill, so I made sure to put the emergency brake up. We made sure to bundle up in blankets we had lying in the back of the van for emergencies, and did our best to get comfortable. Our son thought it was like a camping trip, so he was totally fine with the situation. However, a bad situation would turn worse after a few hours. I'm still not quite sure what caused the snow to begin to freeze. Maybe it was a rise and dip in the temperature, but somehow, while we were asleep, the entire road of the hill in front of us became a sheet of ice.
Damn.
And I'm not sure if it was us tossing and turning in our sleep that shifted the van ever so slightly. But somehow, the ice ended up under our tires, and I awoke to our van sliding rapidly downhill. My wife woke up and...
Not the snow. In cahoots. It's on some clock shit. Goddamn 27. Jesus. I thought I would never see the day. Like, not nature after y'all lasted. Oh my God.
We wrapped her arms around our son while I tried to figure out something to do. But I knew right away there was nothing. The emergency brake was already up. There was no way to stop us unless we happened to just stop on our own. I could tell we were picking up serious momentum. So I too joined my wife and our son in an embrace and got ready for the worst to happen. Then out of nowhere, bam, I heard the back of the van smash into something, but we stopped. I checked on my family, and they were all okay. When I checked to see what stopped the van, it turned out to be a large rock just big enough for the bottom of the van to get launched onto it. The bone-chilling part is had we not stopped, the van would have likely slid right off the side of the mountain at a steep 20-plus foot drop-off.
Oh my God.
I had just turned 13, and my mom had finally trusted me to stay home alone with my little brother. He was only a year younger than me, but he was still little in my eyes. I was super excited. We had been allowed to rent a movie, and she bought us a ton of snacks. And for meals, she left us with money to order a pizza. The evening started out great. We were having a blast watching Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. We hadn't been able to see it in theaters, so it was awesome. It must have been around 8 at night when my brother pointed out that it was snowing outside. And when I looked out the window, I was pleasantly surprised. The sky was just pouring snow. And to a young kid, that was the best. I couldn't wait to potentially go sledding the next day. After a while, me and my brother laid down and went to bed. I double-checked to make sure everything was locked, and it was time to sleep.
Hey, that's what's up. We got people out here checking the checklist. Hey, you gotta check the checklist. Hey, I appreciate you checking the checklist. Hey, you gotta check the checklist. Hey, thank you for checking the checklist. Hey, because now you're gonna do. That does my heart justice. We got people out here checking the checklist.
The next day, when we woke up, we noticed right away that the house was ice cold. And when I went to turn on the TV, we realized the power had gone out. This wasn't a huge deal for us. We figured we would hang out under some blankets and play cards until my mom got home. Only, as time passed, she didn't get home. When I finally decided to look outside, I was amazed at how much snow was on the ground. We had gotten at least 3 feet of snow overnight. Even as a kid, I knew this meant Mom would be stuck out of town for the rest of the day. Now, I don't blame cartoons for my actions. I made them on my own, but I will say that I sure got the idea from watching TV. And since I knew we were going to be cold, I grabbed the metal trash can from the kitchen, dragged it into the living room, and began to start a small fire in hope to generate heat. To this day, I still don't understand what I was thinking, but to a young kid, it seemed like a decent idea at the time. Little did I know about carbon monoxide, and that I would have to have a window open. And even then, it wouldn't have been a good idea. But because I knew none of this, I started a small fire with some torn up newspaper. And for a minute, it was amazing. The warmth was so nice. But after about 45 minutes, me and my brother began to grow really tired. And not thinking anything of it, we decided to take a nap.
Oh, damn. Jesus. Jesus. God damn.
Especially since the fire wasn't roaring, sleep seemed like a great way to pass the time. I woke up being carried out of the house on a stretcher. It turned out my mom managed to get home. They plowed the roads with no problem once the snow had stopped. But by the time she got home, my brother and I passed out from the carbon monoxide in the air. The paramedics told her that had she not shown up, the two of us probably wouldn't have made it. When she came home, we were hardly breathing.
Jesus.
As an avid hiker,
I got a story about that. Okay, I guess I'll say it. No, I'll save it for story time.
But someone who is not fond of the cold, winter is basically my worst enemy. I can't climb where I want to climb, and most of the trails are closed, and it's usually too cold to visit those that are open anyway. One year though, winter seemed to be coming late, as it was still pretty nice out toward the beginning of December. But finally, the weather report said a heavy snowstorm was coming, and that winter was officially on its way. I was under the impression that I had a whole day before the snowstorm was to get here, so I decided to bundle up and do my best to ignore the cold so that I can enjoy one last hike of the season before locking myself away like a groundhog. I made it to the trail. I put my back on, which I always brought. I made sure to have some water and a trail snack just in case something went wrong. As I made my way through the trail, I was pleasantly surprised with how empty it was. It wasn't a nice day or anything, but I still expected to see somebody. After about 4 miles into my hike, I was getting ready to turn around when I noticed the flurries begin to come down. I immediately got upset and knew that I needed to turn around. But even if I hustled back to my car, it was at least a 2-hour walk down the steep trail. Even more, since I knew I would have to take my time with some snow on the ground. But I began to make my way back down the trail, and everything was fine, although I was getting nervous about how fast the snow was piling up. By the time I reached the halfway point, I couldn't even see the trail. It was just a blanket of white, and I tried not to panic as I knew I would have to guide myself out. I had walked that trail countless times, but you would be amazed how different things look in the snow. I kept moving forward through at least a little while. As I made my way along a narrow part of the trail, my foot ended up slipping on a rock that had been covered in the loose snow, and that was when I heard the cracking sound of my ankle snapping. It probably wasn't too loud, but at the moment it sounded like a whip cracking. The pain set in immediately as I dropped to the ground, and panic set in soon after that. I couldn't walk back to my car, and there was no way that anyone would be on the trail right now to help me. I pulled my phone out, hoping that I had service, and lucky for me, I had about a half a bar, but that was enough. I called for help, and they actually had to send the fire department into the trail to rescue me. By the time they got to me, they said I was showing signs of mild hypothermia, and what's even scarier is that my phone died almost right after they put me into an ambulance. I probably would have still been walking down the trail at the time, and had this happened when my phone was dead, I likely would have been close behind it.
Snow is pretty. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Just like the ocean. But it's also dangerous too. Dangerous as hell. It's pretty to look at. It's nice to play in. But I would not dare to, like, if I have to, absolutely have to, I would drive in snow. But if it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm from Maryland, so I got my fair share of snow. So I know what not to do, what to do, but like, I don't really mess with snow like that. Especially black ice. Yeah. I feel bad. Oh my God. They didn't die because of the fire. What's it called? The carbon something? But like at the same time, that snow is just, I don't really mess with that. Maybe y'all do, but I don't. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family.